Hail adventurers, and welcome to this recap of Iron Kingdom's All Worlds Stage session number 7. So last we left off, the players just found out that apparently Geese Amethyst, the drug lord, drugged Adamant Jr. So they are in limited time. They have about an hour in game to save the kid. So what's the first things they do? They decide to go look for Gumshoe to see if they can help them out. And Moira Sterling, she goes to the human. She goes to Gumshoe's house, and she goes up to his bedroom because the door was open, and there she finds a note. And she's like, all right, I read it. What does it say? And I tell her the note says, "Life is full of tough choices. Signed, Geese Amethyst." The player goes livid at that moment. The player goes livid. She goes back to the base because Miss Coxfoot, the dwarf, was preparing Hammer for the upcoming fight. So she tells her, "Look, Gumshoe has been kidnapped by Geese apparently, and they look over town to they look for information on Geese. They roll their streetwise, and they're not able to find out who exactly has where exactly Geese is, but they do tell them that Geese is someone that abhors technology to a certain extent. He doesn't like steam jacks or warcasters or anything like that because he's a very nature-centric human. So they decide, all right, let's go to the warehouse district and let's go to the furthest warehouse we can find. On the way there, they notice that their own warehouse, because they own a warehouse, because you know they're crime lords, so why wouldn't they? Their own warehouse is open, and there are people in there apparently moving things out of there. So they pitter-patter between, should we go check our warehouse or just keep going? So they decide to keep going. They arrive to what seemed to be used to be an abandoned warehouse. It's all rusty. It had a little bit of overgrowth on it, but it's been cut away. So they go inside. They see this huge, like, blinds and lines of boxes and boxes and boxes. Once they go in, the doors close behind them, lights turn on, and they see just boxes and lines and towers of boxes and a bunch of catwalks on the ceiling. And they start going through the boxes, and they go through a couple of boxes, and suddenly it looms on them. These boxes are set up in a way to make a maze. And I actually spent like 10 minutes creating that maze. So that was supposed to be the big boss fight against Geese Amethyst, because he was actually on the catwalk throwing grenades at them while they were traversing the maze. But before he started attacking them, he said, all right, you have two choices. You have three choices. You either go through the maze and try to fight me, or pick Gumshoe or the kid, who dies and who lives. If you pick Gumshoe to live, I'll tell you where Gumshoe is. You can set him free, but the kid dies. If you want the kid to live, I'll give you the cure for the antidote for the drug, but Gumshoe will die. So they're like, no, let's just try to save them both. A couple of like 2 turns in, which was weird. Excuse me, I'm gonna sneeze now. Yep. It's always 2, man. It's always 2 with me. When Terra, Moira Sterling's character, decided to tell Geese, all right, give me the antidote and just kill off Gumshoe. And I'm like, really? All right, let's do that. But then, you know, I step back a bit and I tell her, out of game. It's like her second time being a player in a game, and I know she was under a lot of stress, but I tell her, look, your character is smart enough to know you still have time. You still have around 45 minutes to save the kid. You know, you still have time. You're just. I think there were like 3 turns into combat. Like you're 3 turns into combat. There's no reason for you to jump the gun this much. So I asked her if she wanted to, you know, undo that. She said sure, and I let her undo that because again, her character would have known better. Especially because once Miss Coxsworth noticed that this place was a maze, she said, I ain't playing that. She ordered Hammer to punch the bottom of the boxes to create a ramp, but the boxes inside is just steel girders. It's just steel, so no way she can break that. But then she had a different idea. She said, alright, I'm gonna start shooting, using my gun to shoot, and Hammer's gonna use his gun to shoot to make footholds and handholds so I can climb up. And I'm like, alright, I like that idea. So I was not prepared for a player to do that. I had no idea that the player would try, because they could climb, but the target number was gonna be way too ridiculous. But creating footholds with the gun, actually, I said, you know what, that's a very ingenious idea. I gave him back a feat point for that. I didn't think that the players would think about that, so that was really cool. So yeah, like when Moira Sterling's character decided to just give up on Gumshoe, the dwarf was already creating the footholds, and I'm like, you know, your character would know, because again, she's creating the footholds. And she's like, okay, let's redo that part. So we did. We had, you know, we had a retake of that part. Geese Amethyst freaks out when he saw that Miss Coxu was creating those footholds, so he turned on some sprinklers that were spraying acid, boiling acid, onto the players, and they were taking 1d3 points of damage every single turn. Unmitigated damage every single turn. To spice up things. A couple of turns later, Miss Moira Sterling actually started running through the maze. She missed the part that was gonna lead her out of the maze, and she took the long way that just led her to a bunch of dead ends. And she did that for like 3 more turns. Coxsworth actually got to the top of the crates, ordered Hammer to run back to the beginning of the hangar so it would get out of the acid rain, because Hammer took a lot of damage during that fight because of the acid rain, because Hammer was actually taking more damage than normal because it was corrosive acid, and you know, being a steam jack, it actually took more damage from corrosive things. Geese ran away through the catwalk. Her name, Coxsworth, got to the catwalk, didn't see Geese, just searched the catwalks, found some stairs at the end of the catwalk leading down, just led down to a hallway and then to the end of the maze, decided to go back, help Moira Sterling up. Moira took a crap ton of damage because of all the nooks and twists and turns she took through the maze and all the dead ends that she took. She actually took a couple of more turns than Moira to get out of the boxes, because she actually needed to climb more times, because she actually missed her physical rolls more times than Coxsworth. Sorry. So then they start searching around the catwalk. They don't find Geese anywhere. But then Sterling's character, Winter, actually tells me, I want to check behind the stairs. I want to actually stop and look around. And I'm like, excellent, roll a detection roll. She rolled, she got really high. I was giving them free detection rolls when they were passing by to see if they saw it. But since she actually stopped, the target number dropped dramatically from a 15 to a 10. So she found a trap door. She opened it, went down there, saw a workshop, like a laboratory with a lot of kids that are in a stopper, just working, making more red mist. And at the end, she saw Gumshoe strapped to a chair with a gallon of water strapped to his head, with water up to here, and Gumshoe was almost well, he was passed out. She goes to him, breaks open the gallon of water, lays him on the floor, and gives him CPR. She actually makes the medicine roll for the CPR. They go back up. She tries to convince the... No, that was later. Once she gets out, I tell her, roll another detection roll, and she rolls really high. And I tell her, you sort of notice something in your peripheral vision at the end of the maze. And she goes there, and she saw Geese Amethyst pressed against the wall, freaking out. And yeah, that was basically the end of the encounter. I had planned for them to go throughout the whole maze taking damage, but Coxswain was taking none of it. So I actually thought that was pretty cool that they decided to, well, that Coxswain decided to just skip the maze, and it was very imaginative the way she did it. Not to pat myself in the back too much, but I know of game masters that would have not let that happen. I know of game masters that would have made the players go through the whole maze. But I like it when players think outside the box. I actually have planned for them not to be able to break the crates to make a ramp, but I didn't plan for them to shoot holes into the boxes to climb up. So you know what, I gave it to him because that was really cool. Then they interrogate Geese. Geese tells them, I have very important information. The fourth horseman is not the boss of the horsemen. I know their name. You guarantee me being alive, you let me go, I'll send you a letter, I'll give you the name. But that's the only way. And then Cox says, okay, we'll do that, but you have to let me burn you first. I want to put you in the acid because you've made people suffer. I want you to suffer. And he's not taking any of it. It's like, I'm not going to be an outcast all my life. I'm not, because also Coxswain wanted to burn off his member. She wanted to make him an ex-man. She wanted to make him a eunuch. And he was having none of it. Like, I'm not going to spend the rest of my life completely maimed and burned. So you either let me go, I'll give you the information, or I'm taking that to the grave with me. And they said, oh, whatever, we don't care. So they just gonna pick him up and throw him into the acid, but he actually bit on a cyanide pill and killed himself. Then something very funny happened. Coxswain's character said, you know what? I wanted to take this guy's head off and burn his... I wanted to burn his head in the acid and then take it off so we could intimidate people with his head. Nobody needs to know that he died of cyanide. So they just poured his head anyway in the acid and took his head off. That was pretty humorous, to be quite honest. That he just said, you know what, nobody needs to know that he killed himself. We can say that we killed him with his own acid. So that was humorous, that was fun, that was funny. I enjoyed that. Then they actually go get the antidote because Geese had a bit of the antidote. Coxswain and Hammer just rushed to the Adamant estate. They administered the antidote. The kid apparently is gonna make a full recovery. And then Moira and Gumshoe stay at the hangar, and they check the kids, they check the cabinets. They find 8 more vials of the antidote, and Ellie uses her command skill to try to command the kids to move and stuff. But then she did something that I had planned for, and that was, if anybody mentions the antidote in front of the kids will go berserk. Because, you know, part of Red Mist is you turn into a Wendigo, basically, and you start eating people. So she asks the kid, you know, she rolls a command roll, tell me the formula for the antidote. And the kid just goes berserk. The other kids go berserk. But they're like, we're not going to fight these kids. So they just run out, close the trapdoor, and leave. So yeah, they leave, they recover at night, and they said, let's go back to our hangar to find out what the hell happened in our hangar. And on the way there they see these 2 huge smoke clouds. One is coming from their hangar and one is coming from Geese's hangar, and they're like, crap. And they search, they find no clues to who did it. So they said, you know what, we had a good day anyways. Let's go to Schmetterlings, which is the name of the bar, because that's the name I always put the bars in my games for some reason. and they go drink. Once there, they find the Nis, the dark elf, sitting in a table, just completely beaten. Has a black eye, a bloody nose. So they ask him what happened. Moira asks him what happened. The dwarf is just at the bar. The barkeep tells him, "I'm sorry, we don't have any dwarven ale." And he's like, "What do you mean no dwarven ale? Nobody buys dwarven ale." It's like, actually, like 15 dwarves came in and they just bought all of the dwarven ale I had. While that's happening, Moira asks the Nis, "What happened to you?" And he says, "I was just walking down the street and about 15 dwarfs jumped at me and they just beat the living bejesus out of me. I don't know why." So Moira goes to Coxwood and tells her what happened about the Nis. And then the dwarf is like, "Huh." She remembers there's a blood feud, people are coming for me, so let me go to the dwarf embassy in the city. She goes there and there she sees 15 dwarves all sporting the emblem of the Heathforge clan, which was the clan that sent her the letter for the blood feud. They throw dwarven ale at her feet, which is a huge insult. They start going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and apparently what had happened is when Coxooth sent the green steel axe head from the beginning of the session of the campaign to the Heathforge clan, the elders saw it as a great boon, invited her clan's elders to their hall to talk business and to welcome them with open arms. But this guy, who is the heir of the Heathforge, is pissed off because he said, "You're taking all the glory away from Heathforge members, and who are you to do that to us?" And it was revealed that she was made the new heir of the Coxwood clan as well. So they decided, you know what, we're gonna settle this blood feud the way a blood feud is settled, with combat to the death. Because he said there's only 3 ways I'm gonna leave: either with your head, you agree to make your family part of mine and eliminating the Coxooth name from the history books, or you kill me. Those are the only 3, and you're not gonna do the last one. Of course, because he's a cocky dwarf. He's gonna tell her, "You're not gonna kill me." So we're gonna actually do that. That's the first thing we're probably gonna do next session. So I'm actually very excited for that because I prepared that dwarf in a very particular way, which is gonna make the player and the character hopefully say, "WTF, mofo, what are you doing?" That fight can either last really, that fight can either be really short, where almost no combat would take place, or really short with a lot of combat taking place. And well, Coxwood is in danger of actually dying next session. But I believe and I trust in the player to actually catch on to what I'm doing, and for the character as well to catch on the way that he's been playing the character. I'm pretty sure the character's gonna catch on to what's gonna happen. After that, oh yeah, we had the dating sim scenario in this session. Cause Moira Sterling is pitter-pattering between Adamant and Gumshoe. She actually goes to Gumshoe to ask him, see how he's doing, and ask him about the Adamant family. He reveals that he doesn't trust the Adamant family because they're outsiders. They came to Grandselm one day, build a manor, and to him it doesn't make sense that people with that much money would be in Grandselm, when Grandselm is such a crime-ridden place. And they are the wealthiest family in the city, even wealthier than the mayor herself. So she reveals that Adam is you know, going after her romantically. He actually proposed to her. Gumshoe was really pissed off, and he just told Moira, "Just get out of my house." Just like that, he just got really cold. "Get out of my house." The player could have handled that a little bit better, but I'm happy with how that went. That love triangle subplot is gonna resolve itself eventually, one way or the other. So what happened after that? Yeah, the next day, they're discussing what they're gonna do because, you know, they have two horsemen down. They know that they need to deal with Gil Goldenrod and whoever the fourth horseman is. So they get visited by a guy in their. Their arcane order gets visited by a guy, Harry Phillips, lanky dude, clutching a book. Tells them about he's been having weird dreams because the night before the players actually had a nightmare where they saw a giant eye floating in the sky, a pulsating giant red eye pulsating in the sky. I described it differently, obviously, in the game. I actually made it sound creepy, but here's this is just a recap. So they had a shared nightmare, basically, and in that nightmare, Moira saw Adamant be dying and decaying, and Coxwood saw Hammer just destroyed and its metals decaying. However, I told Moira Sterling something very peculiar about that dream. You dreamt with yourself dressed as Alice was it? Miss Goodall, with her, which is her good persona, and I tell her, you never dream of yourself as your secret identity. You always dream of yourself as, well, Moira Sterling, because that's who you really are. So she found that very peculiar, very weird. This guy that came to visit them at their arcane orders tells them that he had a dream with them where he was flying over the air and saw them and saw the people decaying around them. And that made him really sad and made them cry. The thing is that during the dream, the giant eye cried a single bloody tear. And when they woke up and they actually checked themselves, they actually had dried blood on their body. Not on their clothing, but actually on their body. They go to his house to investigate. This guy, Coxtooth, just wants to kill the guy because she's like, this guy is cursed. He's cursing us. Let's just kill him and be done with it. They go to his house to investigate. The house is in the up and up, just a regular two-story house. They check his books because they think maybe his books are cursed. They tear the house down without tearing it down, except for Coxwood, because she starts hearing rats behind the walls scratching at the walls trying to get out, but she's the only one hearing it. To the point that eventually it drives her mad and she tries to cut a hole through the wall, which she actually succeeds. But she notices that it's just one layer wooden wall. So once she cuts that wall, she sees the outside. But in the game, I told her you hear that the rats are moving away and it's almost like they're mocking you. And she tries looking around for the rats. They're able to actually move Coxwood out of the house. And then she's like, if it's not him, it's the house. We need to burn the house down. And I would rather burn the house down with him inside. So they reconvene at the Arcane Order, and Coxwood tells her, my only idea is, again, burning the house down and burning the guy inside. But since Ellie Goodall, Moira Sterling couldn't decide what to do, she told Coxwood, you know what, do whatever you want. Which she does, because then she goes to town to go look for the house and burn it down. But on the way there, she gets stopped by two police officers, and they said, "Excuse me, we would like for you to accompany us to the station. We need to talk to you." And she was like, "I don't know if I should put pressure on these guys. Screw it, I'm just gonna go with them to the station." Because again, they're just like, "We have some questions for you. Let's go down to the station." And she's like, "Well, I'm here, officers. Why not ask the questions here?" And they're still like, we would like to ask those questions at the station." So they take her at the station. They ask her where the red mist is. She's like, "What red mist?" They tell them that they know that her people were at the old brothel, and there was a lot of red mist in the brothel, and that they stole it. And she's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. We didn't steal anything." So, like 5 other police officers come in, because the police officers that are there saying, "Oh, she's getting violent," and they restrain her, and Coxwood is like, "They're just gonna plant something on me, aren't they?" And I tell her, "Well, yeah, you actually Rolling out a successful detection, she noticed that they are in fact planting some red mist on her. So she gets sent to jail. She spent the day and night in jail. Sterling actually goes to jail to try to talk to the police officers to let them talk to Moira. They tell her no, she will have a proper trial tomorrow. And she's like, okay, she goes back, but at night, the NIST actually shows his head through the bars and tells Coxwood, I can get you out. You want me to get you out? I can get you out. And she's like, how? I'm good at lockpicking as well, and I have a body that looks like yours. We can make it so that it appears that you killed yourself. So they do that. He sneaks in, hoists the dwarven woman up with some with the blankets that were in the jail cell. They make it look like, you know, Coxwood committed suicide. They escape, and on the way back, Coxwood, every time she goes through different alleyways, just try to sneak in back to her hideout, she notices that she keeps seeing the house over and over again. And every time she sees the house, and she turns the corner, she sees the house keeps getting like more warped and more creepier. So she's still like, eventually I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna destroy the house, but right now I have bigger fish to fry, because I want to get back to those police officers that tried to get me sent to jail and go to an unfair trial. So the next day, she's talking to Moira. She explains what happened to Moira, and they're like, let's go to Gumshoe to see what we can do about this, because if anybody, Gumshoe wants to know about, you know, corrupt police officers, and those 7 police officers are totally corrupt. So Coxwood goes along because Moira is trying to distance herself a little bit from Gumshoe, because again, Gumshoe kicked her out of the house basically. So there with Gumshoe, she explains what happened, and Gumshoe says, yeah, I know. And she's like, how do you know? And Gumshoe tells her, well, you're Moira's best friend, and I couldn't stand by and just let Moira's best friend get sent to jail into an unfair trial. That actually touched the dwarf's heart. And now the dwarf is conflicted, because the dwarf wanted Moira to pick Adam because Adam has a lot of money. But now Gumshoe actually did something really nice for the dwarf, basically saved her life. So they develop a plan where Coxwood's gonna go at night to sprinkle some red mist, hide some red mist in where the police officers are, and then Gumshoe's gonna go do a sting and bust them. So at night she does that. She actually finds a small note in one of the police officers' bed, under their bed. It has the emblem that the 4 horsemen use, which is a weird A with like an F on it. They still don't know what that means. They just know that the 4 horsemen use it. So she hides that there. Then no, yeah, it was that night that on her way back she actually saw the house multiple times, because when she got back she actually started gearing up and getting a lot of things like, we're gonna go to the house and we're gonna burn it down. Bar none, I don't even care about the police officers anymore. Just screw it, I want to burn down that house. They actually sent some people to ask if Gumshoe got the police officers. They come back and they tell them, yeah. I would have liked for them to be there when the police officers were captured, but you know, the players have bigger fish to fry. Well, with that, the session ended basically. Oh yeah, not before the cliffhanger. The cliffhanger was, they're gearing up. They're gonna go to the house, the haunted house, and as they're leaving the arcane order, Gil Goldenrod, one of the 2 remaining horsemen, walks up to them inside the arcane order, and they're like, "Oh, really? You're just gonna go straight ahead and hand yourself in?" And he starts opening up his suit, and he just goes like this. And they're like, oh, you're making yourself a bigger target. That's good. But when he does this, they notice he has a bunch of dynamite sticks. And just presses a button and blows himself up with the whole arcane order. And the players are like, what? So I decided to finish the session there because I think that's a pretty cool cliffhanger to leave the episode. Yeah, the episode, the session in. Just one of the four horsemen came in, he blew himself up with the players, and we'll see what happens next session. The players are guesstimating either that was actually Gil Goldenrod that was sent by his boss to blow himself up, or it's a body double, and Gil Goldenrod has been known to have body doubles. So next session they're gonna deal with the whole haunted house thing. Maybe they'll do something with the whole Gil Goldenrod thing, and next session we're gonna have the fight with the dwarf, the duel between the dwarfs, and that's gonna be interesting. Seeing Paladin, the player, react to how I prepared that dwarf. Besides that, yeah, that's basically what we had. Oh yeah, during that session as well, Adamant sent Ellie Goodall, because that's how he knows her as, a gift from the war that he's fighting. Sent her a couple of nice letters, a bunch of lovey-dovey stuff, and sent her a parcel, something for her arcane order to put on display, or to, you know, give to her boss. A rune blade from Menoth. Now in the game, those things do not have prices because they cannot be bought. There are only two class character careers that can actually have that weapon, and one of them is the Paladin of Menoth. So those things are extremely hard to come by, and there was a note attached to it that said, "I pried it from his cold dead hands." So apparently Adam is kicking ass at the war. He actually also sent Coxwood something, some bits and pieces from different Menothian warjacks, and a scroll case with a scroll inside that has codes and ciphers for operating Menothian warjacks. So that's cool. She was happy with that. Coxwood was happy with that. Moira was very happy with what Adam also sent her. So right now she's still pitter-pattering between who she's gonna choose. I keep saying it's gonna be easy for her to choose eventually. Probably in 2 to 3 sessions, it's gonna happen. I'm very excited for. I'm still very excited for this campaign. Players told me they enjoyed the ever-loving out of my game. So that was cool. That was fun. I like it when they tell me that they enjoyed the session. Let's see. Anything else I'm missing? They enjoyed the game. Yeah, that's basically about it. Regarding the Buffy review that was supposed to come out last Friday, was supposed to come out yesterday at the time of this recording. I finished gathering up all the notes. Just that this book was really tough to read, and you know, like when I review books, I read the whole thing. Some things are gonna escape me, of course, because you know, just reading something one time is not enough. But I at least read them one time, and this was really hard to read. From cover to cover, this was really difficult to read. I have all my notes. I have to sift through all my notes and create the script. Hopefully, the review will come out this week, election week, probably in Veterans Day. Man, but it's just, this was not fun. Like, I am honest, this was like the system is cool. The system is actually fun, but reading the book itself was not fun. And the other thing that has me slowed down is like the next review I'm gonna do after that is gonna be this book. Now I want you to read the title, Sons of Arcadia, like Son apostrophe S. So of Arcadia belongs to Sun. Man, I'm an English teacher. I don't even know how to explain that. This is from a local game designer. First Puerto Rican tabletop RPG. Not necessarily a good thing, because again, this book, I'm gonna come out and say this is the worst design book ever. The game itself, I'm not entirely sure yet because I'm still reading it. It's just this. It's just the tables don't have the lines. The book doesn't have any portraits inside. Usually tabletop RPG books have columns. This doesn't follow traditional tabletop RPG formatting, and the grammatical errors are glaring. And honestly, from what I've read, this game is unplayable right now as it is. So take that as a preview to what the review is gonna be like for Inside Dark Dungeons Sons of Arcadia. I think this game is unplayable as it is. And honestly, it hurts me to say it because I really wanted this book to be good. Like, I honest to goodness, when I saw that a local designer was making a book, I was so excited. I told my wife that I was so excited that I wanted to get this book and I wanted to review it so hard, man. But then I actually got it and I started reading it. It's like, this game is unplayable as it is. So the Buffy review will probably come out this week. The Sons of Arcadia review will probably come out in 2 weeks. 2 weeks after that, so in 3 weeks. Because it's just... Man, it's just... Oh man, and I'm very sorry. Because the game designer, the designer of the game looks like a really cool and soul guy, but... Google Translate is not a proper medium to translate from Spanish to English. That's as much as I'm gonna say about that. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, for December, I'm actually gonna review the first Gamers movie. So it's gonna be my first movie review, and that's actually gonna be featured in an Inside Dark Dungeons in December. So that's probably gonna be December's big review. After Sons of Arcadia, I actually have another book planned to be reviewed by from Legendary Games. I think it's gonna be Legendary Vigilantes Villains, or Legendary Villains Vigilantes, something like that. So I'm very excited for that one as well, because I'm pretty sure that book's gonna be really fun to read, and it's gonna have a lot of interesting things, unlike this piece of crap, because oh, man, the puns are horrible. And sadly, the biggest disappointment of 2016. I am going to try to be as least mean as I can, but man, it's just it was very difficult. It was very difficult. So until next time, thanks for watching, thanks for liking, sharing, and subscribing the video. I'll see you guys next time, next week, hopefully, for the next recap of Iron Kingdom's All Worlds Stage. And remember, rule number 1, always have fun.